The reason that I wanted to do law is at the military academy, they make you take one class. It's called military law. It was fascinating. It was also the only A that I had to that point in school. So I changed my major from computer science to American legal systems, pre-law, with the intention of eventually practicing law. Just got delayed a little. I joined the military by going to the United States Military Academy at West Point. I spent 4 years there and then was commissioned as an officer in the Army. And so in 2001, I had my packet in to get out of the Army. I was going to go take the LSAT, go to law school and become an attorney. And 9/11 happened. And I did a little soul searching and felt like, the country had invested a lot of money in me, training me to be in the military, so I made a decision to stay. It was a good decision. I would have never met my wife and had kids with her if I hadn't made that decision. And so I ended up serving 22 years after West Point, so a total of 26 years in uniform before I retired and got out. I went to a fascinating program. It was one of the first programs that allowed remote learning, my law school. This law school was in St. Paul, Minnesota, but I basically did it in the Douglas County Library and the El Paso County Library. I spent my last semester of law school doing a semester in practice. I worked at the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office, which was a great experience. They essentially gave me a courtroom and I was a prosecutor. I had 10 trials before I ever got licensed as an attorney here in Colorado. A lot of people do that. I found out though that I wasn't really set out for being a prosecutor. I didn't want to do that for a living. So I went to work for a general practice law firm. They did a little bit of everything. So I handled cases, I handled divorce, I handled discrimination cases where we were suing people for housing discrimination. I had multi-million-dollar civil litigation cases that I was working on. I was assigned to a murder case. Of all of those, the thing that I found gave me the most personal satisfaction in my job was family law. And one of the reasons is I've been divorced. So I could empathize with people, that this is one of the hardest things they're having to go through. And so with the family law folks, I felt that I could get a connection with my clients. And so I really enjoyed doing that. I saw the Robinson and Henry ad for an attorney looking for just family law. And that's really the big question that Don Eby, our managing partner, asked me is, do you think you can do nothing but family law all the time? And without hesitation, absolutely yes. At some point, I transitioned from doing family law. How that kind of worked out is that Don knew that I had been in the Army, and a lot of the things that I did in the Army are about managing people and processes and those types of things. And so he asked me to come in and help to improve processes, gain efficiencies, and help to provide our clients with the best legal experience that they could get. And so it was hard to leave the practice of law and clients, but I enjoy coming in and being able to touch all parts of the practice. So I'm still involved in making decisions about the types of cases that we take and how we treat clients and talking to attorneys every day about how they're going to approach their practice of law. So I think really, the progression from what Don and Bill had initially thought this position would be was probably not as big as it's grown, but I've taken ideas to them on how to grow it. And so eventually I moved from just being, in charge of operations to the director of operations. And then, the value that I provide, they recognize that and decided that the role that I play in the firm is important enough to have made me a partner. Without a doubt, the best part about working at Robinson and Henry is the people. So I have never met anyone in this firm who you call them and say, hey, how do we do this, or how would you do this? I have a policy that, nothing is going to come out of the headquarters here telling attorneys and paralegals in the sales force how to do something if I haven't asked the people who have to implement that, does this make sense? So whenever I talk to people, some people say, Dan, you're you're out of your mind, that's not gonna work. And sometimes it happens, but nobody's ever rude about it. I think you can reach out to anybody in this firm and say, hey, look, how do you do your job? Is there anything that we can do for you to make it better? I'll call people on the sales team in our call center and just say, hey, I know you had a difficult call with this person and they weren't happy. That's not your fault, and nobody should have to go through being berated in a phone call, but how can we make your life better? And so I think just the people that we work with every day, I really enjoy coming to work. So I think anybody who's looking for a second career, I say go for it. If you're sitting in business and you're tired of the drudge and you've always thought about going to law school, do it. There's too many programs out there, too many different ways to get a degree and become an attorney, that if that's what your dream is, then you should do it. It's not too late, and your ability to progress in a law firm like Robinson and Henry isn't going to be hindered by the fact that you started late. I went to law school after I retired from the Army, so I was well into my late 40s when I got my law degree, and now I'm helping Bill and Don on a daily basis to run one of the best law firms here in Colorado. So chase your dreams.